Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today on Masechtas Nazir daf Nun Vav. We're going to begin on the bottom of Nun Hamid Beis, second line from the bottom, Masiv Rami Bar Chama. So this is going back on the Mishnah that we had a couple of blot ago on Nun Daled Amud Aleph that discussed that there are certain circumstances in which Nazir will not need to be Megaleach, but nonetheless he'll still be Mazah Shlishi and Shvi. It's not going to be Seiser at Kaidmin, and he can count immediately. And then it says, "Be'eves Amru Yemein Hazav Hazavi Mehiskiru Shel Matzara Ha'el Oilin Lo." So when it comes to, let's say, for example, it was Matzara, so it will go and count those days of Nazirus, even though he was also had Tsaras. Now, on this, the Gemara talked in yesterday's daf that there is a distinction between someone who's a Nazir Meruba and Nazir Mewetas. If a person is Nazir Mewetas, there needs to be 30 days of Nazirus left. Therefore, obviously, the Tsaras days won't count because you need to be able to have your hair grow back for 30 days. And therefore, it's not going to count when we're dealing again with Nazirus Muetas. However, when it comes to Nazirus Maruba, if it was for a long amount of time, Misak Nami Salkin Bay, then the days will count toward the Nazirus. So that's the distinction that we made. So Masav Bar Chama, Nazir Shahaya Tami Basafik. So you have this situation. You have a Nazir who is Tami Mace, but it's a doubt. Says the Mafarish, Shenitma b'safik b'yom rishon shel nazirus, b'safik hulo im nechlat v'nisrapa b'yom rishon shel naziruso. So again, in this situation, we are in this situation of doubt. So on this, the Gemara continues on Nun Vav Aleph, Oichel b'kodshim v'yachar shishim yoim. We say that after 60 days, he's allowed to eat kodshim, b'shaisi yayin, and he can drink wine, since the first 60 days was for Mitzayra. Says the Mafarish, She'il hoya tameh vadai, umuchlot vadai. If he was definitely tameh and definitely a muchlot, so hoya tzarek galech altar to galacha saras. So then you would have to do the shaving for tsaras, because assuming you know, it's muchlot, you know. It was shiva yomim after 7 days, to the galachas leme sifroi, you count again for 7 days, and then you maybe carbon saras v'oichel b'kodshim. V'yachar kach limnei shiva the galachas naziris tuma. You count 7 days of naziris tuma. V'yachar limnei shleishim naziris tahara. Then you count 30 days from there. Neshet saras doicha l'hagalachas the nazir, because the tsaras is doicha the shaving of the Nazir. Skipping a few lines in the Mafarish. So that's what happens if it's Vadai. However, since in our case we're talking about the whole thing is a doubt, altar. In that situation, we're not going to allow you to do the Tegalachas immediately. The only time you could do Tegalachas is only when you know for sure the guy is Matzara, is a Mochot. However, in the case of a Savik, we're not going to allow you to do Tegalachas B'Savik because you're a Nazir. Hilkach, Shaya, you have to wait. You have to wait 60 days. Again, in the case of Vadai, then you don't have to wait that long. Fine. Again, all you need to do is you do the Tegalachas immediately, and then after 7 days you shave after you made sifrai, and then you bring a carbon, and then you could eat kodshim. Over here you have to wait 60 days. Achashishim. Ketzad. So boloi legalech tegalachas saras. Well, alter armim loy shemlo haisa tameh v'muchlot. If he comes, he wants to shave, we say, well, maybe you're not tameh, maybe not muchlot. So you have to wait 30 days. So he comes back after 30 days. You were tameh vo muchlot. V'tegalachas rishaynish yasisa ha'tegalachas tuma. And the original tegalachas is for the fact you were tuma. V'yata mutal v'galech kol shloshim yomim ne she'el olam nazirus tahira. V'ayim shloshim yomim. Because now you have to count 30 days of tahara. U'migaleach harishishim yomim. V'olishus yayin omer lo muchlot ha'yisavol tame. Okay. So, weiter. So, after 60 days, sheisi yayin. U'metam l'mesim le'acher me'av esim yoyim. Now he needs another 60 days for the Nazirus Tumah, and then for Tahara. So the 30 days of Tumah, then 30 for Tumah, then for Tahara. So just like there was a suffix, so we did 60 for that. So but after 60 days, we say you're allowed to be Shaisi Yayin. The first 60 days was for the Matzorah, and the next 60 days is for the Nazirus. V'tani lo b'medibar more Nazirus mu'atas of Nazirus ma'ashana oichel b'kadshim. When it comes to Nazirus ma'ashana, a long period of time, you can eat kadshim l'achar shtei shanim, after 2 years. B'shayis yayin and matam l'meisa achar arba shanim. So let's say each one is not a 30-day period, but a year. So then it's 4 years. V'yisach daitin lei Yomi tiskile b'sholosh shanim v'sholosh yoyim, sholoshim yoyim. If in fact it combines, then it sounds like here that these days are not being combined at all, and therefore, even though it's Nazirus Meruba, rather you must wait 2 years for Tsaras. But now, if he's Nazir Tameh, just wait 30 days, so you should count these days and not require 4 years. V'od Masav Ravashi Ainli Ela Yemei Tuma. I only know when it comes to regarding a Nazir Yemei Tuma She'ein Oil Lo Min Minyan, that it's not Oil Lo Min Minyan. It says Yemei Chalut Manayin. How do we know Yemei Chalut is also not Oil Lo Min Minyan within who? Yemei Tuma Megaleach Vehevi Carbon. When it comes for us Tameh, he shaves and he brings a carbon. Yemei Chaluto by Masaira also Megaleach maybe carbon. Just like when it comes to Yemei Tuma of Nazirus, it doesn't count as your days of Nazirus. So too Yemei Chalut is also not going to be able to count. So we see again, this is a kasha. We see by even when it comes to Nazirus Maruba, it's ein oilin lo. When it says low, as a koidman. When it comes to a person who's tameh, so it's not just that he's megaleach and brings a carbon, but because he became tameh, he's mavatal kaidman. It cancels everything before. When it comes to mitzayra, even though he's tameh, it's not mavatal as a kaidman. It doesn't cancel everything from before. So therefore, you can't learn out this kavachaymer. So amrit kavachaymer hu ma nazir b'kever. But we know that if a person is a Nazir Kever, namely, says the Mefarish, Shenazvu b'Vesik Varis, you're in the actual cemetery, you're tummy mace, and you make yourself into Nazir, Shesar Roy Lehiskalachas Nazir Kidyamrin and Baharini Nazir Megaleach. So Shesar Roy Lehiskalachas Nazirus, when he becomes Tahar, his hair is fit to be shaven, Ein oil in a minyan, and it doesn't count, says the Mefarish, you made 2 masayim in a minyan. The days tummy doesn't count. Vein sois behen as a koidman, levishein lo koidman. It doesn't cancel anything before, because there is no before, because he was always tummy, so he didn't even have any days to begin with. So you may chaluta shein sararoyal eskalachas nazirus lo koshikain. So since he will need to cut off all of his hair due to saras, not to Nazirus. Ve'enli eli mechaluti me sifro manayin Talmud loimer v'dinhu, as we continue in Bamud Beis. Ma yimechalutoi toyin tigalachas. When it comes to yimechaluto, you're required to shave, and then you bring the birds, etc. Av yimei sifroi, also when it comes to the days of counting. Uma yimei chaluta in olam and a minyan af yimei sifroi. Also is not olam and a minyan. So yachal af yimei hesgiro. Maybe you would also say A person who has only developed symptoms of saras is ein olam minyan, kain. But din noisin cholot matama mishkav v'moishav. Someone who is a tamei vadai, it's matama mishkav v'moishav. V'yemei hiskiroi matama mishkav v'moishav. So im omada tayim lemechaluta shein olam minyan. So af yemei hiskiroi olam minyan. So amarta lo, no. Im amarta b'mechaluto shechein chaluto toyin tegalachas. When it comes to chaluto, you have to shave maybe carbon lafikach and oilon. Timer b'mehiskiro she'en toyin tegalachas by ymehiskiroi, in which again they're just looking at the symptoms of the saras. There's no requirement to shave. Then maybe carbon lafikach yalum milaminyan. So therefore, it's actually ymehiskiro is going to be oil milaminyan, not ymechaluto. Okay, let's stop here for 1 second before we get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's look at question 12. Ma kal v'chaymer diyof begemar maskana le'inyan mechaluto I oilin le'mein nazirus. Does the mechaluto count or not? So he said like this: when it came to a nazir kever, a person who made themselves into a nazir, even though they're in a cemetery, which means they're tamei meis, so his hair is fit to be shaven, and it's ein olam minyan. So Yemechaluto shein sar royal galachas. Yemechaluto, his hair is not fit to be cut. Nazirus, let's galachas nazirus. Lo kol shekin. Okay, fine. Back in the Gemara. Mekan omru yemei sifroi v'yemei gomroi, which is Yemechaluto, ein umin minyan. Yemei hazava v'hiskiro shel matzar hari elu oilin lo. Katani miyas lo. We already learned. It says no. Ima marti meimich toma shachin mavata behenas a kaidmin timer b'mechaluto. So b'mai ileim of naziris mawatas. If it's only talking about a short nazirus, habi'in and gil seir, hair has to grow. Elam naziris maruba katani shein elam minyan alma lo salkin le shmamina. So we talk actually see from here, even when it comes to naziris maruba, that it does not count. So we're not machalik bein zuluzu. Question 13. Nazir shenitztera. You have a nazir with saras. Ha'im yimei hiskiro or yimei chaluto or minyan yimei nazirus. So as we said, yimei hiskir oilin, and it's mashmin taisus. The Mishnah is davka kishalo huchlot yimei hechlot ein oilin. So yimei hiskiro does count as part of the days of Nazirus, but not Yemei Chalutoi. Okay. TA1. B'ma shavi and Yemei Hiskiru shel Matzari Yemei Chaluto. How do we compare them? Uvama hin Chalkin. Chalkin, very clear, we see, that's whether it's Olim and a Minyan. Right? Yemei Hiskiru is Olim and a Minyan, Nazir is Ein Olim, and Chaluto is not. They're equal with Tami Mishkav and Moishav. However, they are equal, that both of them are matama, mishkav, u'moishav. However, the chiluk is, again, whether it's oil and low or not. Okay, that was TA1. Let's look at question TB2. Oh no, got switched. Nazir shenitztera ha'im yimei hiskiru yimei chaluta olam minyan yimei nazirus. So, yeah, pretty posh, as we just said. Yemei Chalutoi is not oilin. Yemei Hiskiru is, what was written over here? TB2. Yemei Hiskiru oilin. Yemei Chaluta ain't oilin. Mamash, the same question. All right, that was TB2. Very similar, almost identical question. Okay, weiter. Let's see the next Mishnah. Masni said, Oimer Rabbi Elazar Misham Rabbi Yeshua. So Rabbi Elazar said in the name of Rabbi Yeshua, Kol Tuma Minames, any Tuma from a dead body, Shenazir Megalech, that the din is that a Nazir, if he comes in contact with it, will have to shave because of the Tuma. So Chayav Leha al Bias Mikdash. Such that level of Tuma, it will be the exact same thing. You'll be Chayav if you enter the base of Mikdash in that state of Tuma because of it. The whole Tuma Minamesh She'ena Nazir Megalech Aleha. Anytime a Nazir does not shave, for example, again, Tumas Eretz Amim, Ein chayav leha al bias hamikdash. If a person enters Beis Hamikdash in that state of tuma, which is not like a deraisa tuma, someone with a rabbanon level, so then the person will not be chayav for entering into the mikdash. Rabbi lo tehezu kalam in the sheretz. There should not be any more lenient than a sheretz. So look in the mafarish. Uma al tumas a sheretz she'in hanazir matama kum. So it's not going to be matama the nazir. Chayav lo mishum bias mikdash al tuma. Nonetheless, you're still going to be chayav. So although a nazir is not going to be do tingolachas by tuma sheretz, nonetheless there's still an isser bias mikdash when it comes to tuma sheretz. Says the Gemara, for Rabbi Elazar Mishum Rabbi Yeshua Gamerla, is it true that it was Rabbi Elazar who said the name of Rabbi Yeshua? V'ha Mishum Rabbi Yeshua Bar Mamel Gamerla, wasn't in the name of Rabbi Yeshua, but rather in the name of Rabbi Yeshua Bar Mamel. The Sanya Rabbi Elazar Kishalachti La'ar Diskai Umitsasi as Rabbi Yeshua ben Pater Roish. I saw him Shahayoshev, he was sitting with Don Lifnei Rabbi Meir B'Halacha. Cold, and he said like this: Cold tumah min amaze shan nazir megaleach leha. Any time in which a person is tummy to the extent that a nazir would have to shave on it, chayav lo mishum bias mikdash. Says in the Mishnah, the cold tumah min amaze she'ein nazir megaleach leha in chayav lo mishum bias mikdash. So they go hand in hand. If it's not a strong tumah, that a person who's a nazir will not be megaleach on it, so the din also will be that there's no requirement of there's no chiyuv of bias mikdash. Armalo al tehezu kala b'sheretz. There shouldn't be any more link to the sheretz, as was the words of Rameir. So marti lo klum atabaki Rabbi Yeshua bar Mamel. So he said, is there anyone as like you're an expert in Rabbi Yeshua bar Mamel? So Armali hein kach Armali Rabbi Yeshua bar Mamel mishum Rabbi Yeshua. Right. So this is what was said in the name of Rabbi Yeshua. Kol tomim min ameisha naz megaleach lehachav lehem mishum bias mikdash. V'chol tomim min ameisha naz megaleach lehem mishum bias mikdash. So that's the kasha. The kasha is just, how could you tell me that this whole statement, this memra, was Rabbi Elazar who said the name of Rabbi Yeshua? We say it's clearly Rabbi Yeshua bar Mamel. So Havi, so let it be. Mishum Rabbi Yeshua bar Mamel Gamrila. Fine, it was him that learned it. Amru Shmami, no, we learn from here. Kol Shmaisasa, any sugya, the Misamra Bibeit Tala saw that there's three people in the chain. Kadmoi Ubasroi Amrinan. It's the earlier and the later ones that said it. Mitzioi U Amrinan, and the middle ones did not say. Okay, what exactly does that mean? Amr Rab Nachman B'Yitzchak Afanam and Tanina. Amr Nachum ha-Luvlar, that the Nachum the scribe said, Kach b'kavonim Rabbi Ashia, Shekibu ma'abel, Shekibu min hazugos, Shekibu min hanavim, Halachim Sinai, B'zroya sheves v'chardel, B'shnayim v'shleishim kaimais, regarding the plants of the dill and the mustard, 2 and 3 places, Shenasin peya mikol echad v'echad, you give quarters from each one. The Il Yoshua v'Kalev Kachashiv Shmamina. Yoshua and Kalev are not mentioned over here, so that's a right. What's that? It says the Mafarish, Dahavi Mitsuoi Lo Kachashiv. It doesn't mention the middle people. Alma de Kamoi Basroi Amrina Matsuyo Lo Amrinan. Sometimes we mention the first and the last, but we don't always mention the ones who are in the middle. Okay, Adkan.